You might run into this character in No, I'm Not a Human. The community calls him Wireface. If you let him inside and you speak to him, it looks like he is speaking gibberish, but you can actually decipher what he's saying. Let's do just that. If you're lucky enough, he will knock on your door. His mouth is sewn shut, and he can only communicate with incoherent mumbling and simple hand gestures. You let the poor guy in, he nods, then steps inside, taking a spot in the storage room. If the surgeon is already inside, then he will not come into the house. He points at the surgeon and then back to him, signaling to the protagonist he can only come in if you kick the surgeon out. The simple reason for this is that the surgeon occupies the same space as Wireface. But if we do some reaching and some theorizing, I guess we can interpret that he might be scared of medical staff, as his attackers have sewn his mouth shut with medical practices of some sort. So I guess we could go with that reason. Once he's inside the storage room, we can get a better look at him. He has purple curly hair and wears a purple shirt with an orange sweater around his neck. It looks like he's one of the popular characters in this game. Overnight, he took off the stitches from his mouth with his teeth still bleeding. When you click on him, the first thing you notice is his choice of words in his dialogue, seemingly of alien origin. But in the English version of this game, he speaks with what's called an Atbash cipher. Let's go over that soon. But in the Russian version, he speaks in Russian words, but with the English keyboard characters instead. In the Spanish version, he supposedly speaks Portuguese. Can anyone confirm this? I'm also interested in the other languages that I didn't talk about here. Might speak in different languages too. Now let's talk about the English version. He speaks with an Atbash cipher. Might sound crazy complex, but it's actually very simple. You encode the message with the reverse of the alphabet. So what that means is you substitute A in the message with Z, substitute B of the message with Y, C with X, and so on until the end of the alphabet, where we substitute Z in the message with the letter A. With this information in mind, we can use any Atbash cipher online and just paste in his dialogue. Let's use the first day's message, and here is the deciphered message in plain English, easy to understand. Now the wiki has already done all of this for us, let's just refer to that for his story. For the first day of dialogue, he says his attackers couldn't understand him, so they sewed his mouth shut. As you try to communicate with him, he doesn't understand you. He suggests making up a common language. The second day, you ask again how you're going to communicate with him. He says he can repeat your words and you can react to them. Maybe that way he can know what he's saying somehow. He repeats your first word, how. But still, the miscommunication continues. Without the deciphered dialogue, you really have no idea what he's saying. Third day, he tries to repeat good, but still it's helpless. He wonders if the same thing is happening in his country. Perhaps he's talking about the cataclysm and the visitor invasion, or just simply two people speaking different languages, miscommunicating, misunderstanding each other. Fourth day, you imitate a house with hand gestures. He says he came here to visit a friend, but it was the wrong timing. You ask him about how he's gonna get home, either by ship or plane. Both of these choices lead to the same outcome. He asks if they still operate, and hands you a phone number to a foreign embassy. By the way, lots of these characters hand you phone numbers. You can check them out in this video here. Watch it after this one. You call the embassy, but they say there's no way to travel to their country by plane or train. So this confirms that Wireface is a foreigner and he speaks a different language. Ferries, on the other hand, are running, but the risk for night typhoons are too high. The water also reflects the sun onto the ships, and that's too dangerous for the crew. There's nothing they can do. Fifth day, he looks thrilled because presumably he called the embassy himself and they told him that trains are still running. Huh? Did I call the wrong number? Maybe the next day the trains started running again. That's all I can say for that. Sixth day, you ask if someone can drive him home. Again, he misunderstands you, but he has a plan to go home, or at least to the train station, so he's gonna leave tonight. He'll find out if the trains are still running, then he'll leave the house for good. So to summarize Wireface's story, he's from a different country, visiting a friend. Unfortunately, he chose the absolute wrong time to visit when the cataclysm started. Then things go wrong. He tries to get help, but he speaks a different language than the one we speak here in this country. That gets him into deep trouble. where his attackers sewed his mouth shut because they couldn't understand him. Then you invite him into your home. After a few days of attempts of communication, he hands you a phone number to an embassy where you learn that transport is not running at the moment, to that country at least. Fortunately for him, the next day he finds out that trains are running after all. He then leaves the next day as he prepares a trip to the train station. Good luck to him. Alright, that's it for Wireface's story. Sorry for the lack of uploads last weekend. I was on a short trip and didn't have my recording equipment with me. I'll be uploading more soon. Check out this video on how to get all phone numbers in the game for that achievement. Anyway, we did it.